From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Thursday, March 2nd. Cooler air sinks in for your Thursday. Winds are going to shift, come out of the north. Skies partly cloudy for a lot of the day. Going to see some sunshine. Highs are going to top out in the low to mid 50s. Some active weather returns tonight. Widespread rain could come in the overnight hours. With that rain, winds are going to pick up as well, with gusts up to 20 to 30 miles per hour.
The EPA is the one that is failing us here. They are the ones that should be here answering these questions. You should have let the people know before you hauled. There were already trucks loaded on site.
So you already have 3 trucks that are done.
Correct.
People in Putnam County and lawmakers are firing off after learning the first truckloads of contaminated soil from the Ohio train derailment have already been dumped in a landfill. Heritage Environmental Landfill attempted to answer questions at a public meeting in Russellville last night. The town hall meeting was filled to capacity, with many people expressing their concerns and demanding answers. Heritage Environmental Services hosted the meeting. The company assured everyone it has the necessary expertise and resources to handle the disposal of this hazardous material. Heritage says it's the only landfill within hundreds of miles that can take these materials, which is well below the limits they can accept. Special cells built into the landfill will keep it from seeping into the water table, according to them. 3 loads of contaminated soil have already been transported to the landfill, and the company expects more to arrive today. Those at the meeting appeared caught off guard by the news and angry they weren't informed of the toxic waste coming to the area. State leaders also expressed their surprise, stating that they were not notified by federal officials about the transportation of the contaminated waste to Indiana. The lack of communication caused outrage among residents and local leaders who fear for their safety and that of their environment.
I got 3 kids! And if anyone gets me sick, I swear to God.
Do not let the people of this area know that you are bringing these trucks here before you brought them here. And don't tell me you couldn't have done that.
Out of Turkey Creek. How do you plan on keeping it out of my grandchildren's water?
The true failure here is from our EPA. Once the EPA got involved with this, there should have been communication with our local elected officials, our state elected officials, and ultimately with the community before any of this would have happened.
The last person you heard from was State Representative Bo Baird. He says he called Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, as well as the EPA office, to voice his concerns, but has yet to hear back. Indiana Senator Mike Braun and Congressman Jim Baird are demanding answers to a number of questions, including when and why did the EPA decide to halt the Norfolk Southern cleanup, and what on-site testing procedures are in place in East Palestine to test contaminated materials before they are transported elsewhere. As Wish TV has reported, Senator Braun blames the EPA and transportation departments for mishandling the train derailment from day one. Unions representing the railroad workers are urging state and national leaders to do more. 12 union heads met with Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg and other top federal officials Wednesday. Earlier in the day, the Teamsters sent a letter to Ohio's Governor Mike DeWine calling Norfolk Southern a danger to America. The letter claims the company is not providing rail workers equipment to protect them from chemicals, leading to migraines, nausea, and more. Both Buttigieg and DeWine visited East Palestine again yesterday.
The whole goal here is to, make this community safe. And it can't happen overnight. You can't get all this stuff out of here overnight. This is a very elaborate process. They're going about it methodically, but quickly.
Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw is set to testify before Congress next week. Lawmakers have said they want to hear Shaw commit to paying for both the short-term and long-term effects of the wreck. Strip patching is underway in Indianapolis as winter turns to spring. DPW crews are out and about. We found them at Ritter Avenue in East Washington yesterday. Asphalt plants opened earlier than normal this year, supplying street crews with hot mix and asphalt. Hot mix is stronger than cold mix. It's more weather resistant, sticks to roads better. DPW says it plans to spend $10 million on strip patching this year. The CEO of Lilly calls on his colleagues to follow in his footsteps and address the chronic problem of high insulin prices. Lilly announced yesterday it would cut prices for its insulin by 70% starting May 1st. The company's also immediately capping out-of-pocket costs at $35 a month at participating pharmacies if patients have commercial insurance. News 8 spoke to Vice President of Public Policy and Engagement at the Indiana Minority Health Coalition. He says he's a diabetic, and this change brings relief.
So I won't have to make choices about food or insulin. My insulin is now affordable, so now maybe I can do a better job at my grocery purchases and better job at healthy food access and better job at preparing food.
Wish TV's medical expert, former Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams, says the change is a long time coming. Based on numbers in our Health Spotlight special last month, only about half of patients at Marion County hospitals had their diabetes under control. Here's his reaction to Lilly's move and whether it helps everyone.
Remember that through the Biden administration, people on Medicare, 65 or older, were able to have their insulin prices capped at $35 a month. But that didn't apply to anyone else. And so this change will now extend that cap immediately to people who have commercial insurance. You're still going to have people who are uninsured and people who are on Medicaid who are potentially out in the cold. So it's not going to help everybody, but it is a step in the right direction.
Adams says Lilly has enough market share to pressure other companies to cut prices. President Biden calls Lilly's decision a big deal. In a statement, he calls on other manufacturers to follow suit, saying, "For far too long, American families have been crushed by drug costs many times higher than what people in other countries are charged for the same prescriptions." And President Biden is raising clear concerns that the Supreme Court may strike down his student debt cancellation program. The White House says it does not have another plan if that should happen, so it's attempting to shift the political heat toward Republicans while deflecting criticism from disappointed borrowers. And the Prime Minister of Greece promises a full independent investigation into the train crash that has killed dozens and is prompting violent protests. Demonstrators in Athens claim the head-on crash of a freight train and a commuter train is the result of a chronic neglect of Greece's railways. Several hundred people marched into the night, with some getting into fights with police officers. At least 43 people died in the train collision. Authorities arrested a station master. He's set to appear in court today to face formal charges. TikTok is starting a new screen time limit for young users. The app is set to roll out a new default setting for those under 18. After 1 hour of scrolling, users will have to enter a passcode to continue. Those under 13 will need a parent to enter a code. It's far from a hard limit. Users can choose to turn off the setting. Update mirrors gaming rules in China, where TikTok's parent company used to be based. TikTok says it made the decision after talking with experts on digital wellness and child health. The change is set to roll out in the coming weeks. 4 astronauts are headed to the International Space Station. The SpaceX launch included the first person from the United Arab Emirates to go to the ISS. The Falcon rocket bolted from the Kennedy Space Center just after midnight. The first launch attempt was called off last minute on Monday because of a clogged filter. The new crew will replace the U.S., Russian, and Japanese crew that's been in space since October. A federal judge says Starbucks broke federal law in its push to prevent workers from unionizing. The ruling says the coffee giant showed a general disregard for the employees' fundamental rights. The case involves 21 stores in New York and a total of 33 labor complaints. The judge ordered the company to reinstate workers who were fired for their union activities and give them back pay and damages. The pilots for Delta Airlines have approved a new labor deal. It includes a 34% increase in pay over 4 years. The Airline Pilots Association says the raises are worth more than $7 billion. It says the contract also includes improvements to vacation and other benefits. The agreement runs through 2026. And today it's Thin Mint Thursday. The annual event encourages blood donations in exchange for Girl Scout cookies. All attempting donors at Versity's Indiana Donor Centers will receive a package of Thin Mints. Donation takes about an hour. Anyone 17 and older in good health who meets the eligibility requirements is encouraged to give. Parental consent is required for donors to age 16. Bring a photo ID, including your birth date. Donor Center locations include Indianapolis, Fishers, Carmel, Greenwood, Highland, Terre Haute, and Lafayette. They're open from 10 to 7. Two business headlines. Power from zero-carbon sources made up a full 41% of the U.S. electricity mix in 2022. That mix includes power from nuclear plants, hydroelectric dams, solar, and wind. The report comes from the annual Sustainable Energy in America 2023 Fact Book. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Equity Commission unveiled recommendations to stop discriminatory practices across the agency and in farming. The report focused on 4 areas for the USDA to improve how the agency works with farmers and ranchers: the need for department-wide change, the agency's commitment to farmers and their families, and reevaluating agency programs. Airbnb admits to banning people for being closely associated with bad guests. Airbnb says banning people because they're closely associated with an already banned user is necessary for safety, but advocacy groups question whether it's fair. Dollar Tree has profited from raising prices above the dollar level. Retailer is adding $3 and $5 price points in more than 1,800 stores again this year. Some of the products include frozen and refrigerated foods like proteins, pizza, and ice cream. Southwest Airlines ups its caffeine game by introducing in-flight bottled iced coffee. For $4, you can now caffeinate with Community's iced coffee on board a Southwest flight. The chilled drink menu edition will be served on 4,000 daily flights. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.